Sometimes I forget my mic isn't muted when the song's on, and I'm sitting here snapping along and bopping the table, and then I realize everyone can hear me. Well, hey everyone, welcome to the show. It's Monday night. It is Let's Talk Lorcana, the weekly show where we talk about all things Lorcana and sometimes other things too, because I don't know, talking's fun. This week, big week, CCS, not CCS. That was the previous week, PPG, that acronym, and yeah, it was fun. Logan, how's it going? How's your trip back?
Wonderful. Dude, the last week and a half have been just like a whirlwind of travel. Yeah. I've gone from, what was it? I was at Ink, and then I came home and immediately had to fly to Iowa for work. And then so last Thursday, I get home from Iowa. I have to Uber back to my apartment, quickly change out my suitcase, grab my other backpack, get back in the Uber, get back to the airport, get on another plane, come to Denver. And yeah, so I haven't slept in my bed. It was literally a week that I didn't get to sleep in my bed. So that was fun.
Yeah,
and also, just as a quick side note before we comment on that, are you missing things on your wall?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't know why that bothers me.
I know. Well, it bothers me too. They're also not the right height. We moved. So ages ago, the studio used to be in here, and it was really crammed and. I wish I'll have to show you all pictures of it sometime, because it was literally a folding card table crammed into the corner of this room, with a bunch of folding chairs right next to it, and then the twinkle lights behind. It was really awful. And so then we moved out to the kitchen, and we got our new setup with our bajillion-dollar camera and the lights and all that. But the kitchen, for obvious reasons, wasn't ideal. So we've since gutted our guest room, gotten rid of our guest bed. And now we've moved everything back into the office. So I have I wish I could show you that, this whole wall is cube storage for all of my Lorcana trinkets and gadgets and gizmos.
Okay.
And then there's going to be posters on the wall. I've got a giant Lorcana poster here to put up. And
so slowly a work in progress is what you're telling me.
Yeah. But it's cool. Cause it's going to be an actual studio. And then we have to lower the shelves because they're a little bit high, but it's gonna be cool. So instead of walking into my house and seeing the studio over on the left, in the kitchen, we actually have an area. Well, we turned it into an area for Olena to play, actually. So she has a play area, and now we're in here. But if you stay at my house, you have to use an air mattress now. So
I mean, look, that's fine. I like air mattresses.
Yeah. Oh, tell us the poster. Tell us the poster. Should I?
No, absolutely not. Not until it's all put together.
It's pretty cool. All right.
He goes, wait a minute.
Look, all right.
Is it? You're going to unbox it here?
Yeah. I'm going to unbox this thing. Hold on. I was going to do this in a short, but that's the benefit of being here live. This is for you, Al Baron.
Al Baron?
I'm a collector of Lorcana. This is not where the show is supposed to go, by the way.
Never. It never is.
All right. So I like to think of myself as a collector of, oh my goodness, Lorcana history and things. Oh my goodness, this is big. You can't see this on camera, can you?
Wait.
Hold, please.
I'm holding. Now I'm curious as to what it actually is. I saw a
Yeah.
glimpse, and I have an idea. I'll let
Oh,
you know
you
if
do?
my guess is correct.
Okay. Okay. I apologize for the noise. Hold on. All right. Hold on.
Oh, it's just styrofoam. It's not that bad. Or bubble wrap.
All right. All right.
I want to see like actual guesses in the chat though.
All
Hold
right.
on.
Whoa,
Hold on.
what do you get? What?
I don't think we don't have any we don't have any guests or
Oh.
any guesses yet.
No
Just everybody
guesses?
going, show me the poster.
All right.
Greedy. I was wrong.
All right. This is it. Woo. Oh, this is cool. So this is this was Hot Topic's poster.
Hot Topics. Hot Topic is Lorcana posters?
Yes. When the game first came out and the first chapter was in stock and they were trying to advertise that Lorcana was a thing. So it has like the little thing in the bottom here where it has the hot topic and the poster number. These were official. Limit of 5 booster packs and 5 starter decks per customer. Yep. And yeah. So pretty cool. Anyway, all right. That's it.
That's crazy that Hot Topic had better posters than local game stores.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be like I went to a lot of game stores during the first chapter and nothing had anything remotely that cool. Like the most you'd see is like the boxes in the stands where you can go get them. But
yeah. Okay. That was not well. So there it is. Now it looks better than a cardboard box down there. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's our first 5-minute detour there. But, yeah.
the
so
first of many for the hour.
It'd be cool. Phil, you're on the list. Wait till I get my gameplay series up. You can come. We can play a game. It'll be awesome. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. Are they foil? No, they're like.
They're not actual cards, right? They're just like in printed.
No.
I was about to say like that would be. I think that would be a better collectible item than like the original. What the original 5, 8 cards, 6, something like that. There was a number.
It's super fascinating because sorry, this is really random. What they did, Hot Topic must have done this like in-house because these.
Oh wait, is that just like a still picture of?
Yes.
Like cards? So
yes.
Some of them are foil and some of that's crazy.
Yep. Like starter deck foil, starter deck foil, starter deck foil, starter deck foil. So they just busted open the starters and probably like the booster pack inside, and they got or maybe 2 of the booster packs because he's got a sword foil and dragonfire foil. And so yeah, I think they just busted open the starter decks and like the booster packs and then just put open and then took pictures and then like placed them on the poster.
I mean, it still looks incredibly cohesive.
Yeah, right. I wonder what that background is.
It's probably just like one of those silk coverings that they have because they have all kinds of things like that at Hot Topic.
Anyway, okay, this is a flashback to like 2023.
I love it, and again, I'm incredibly jealous that Hot Topic had better promotion than game stores.
Yeah, and funny thing, that poster's probably up. Hot Topic probably never had any in stock, like ever.
No, I mean, dude, absolutely not. If I couldn't get it at Walmart, do you think I'm going to get it at Hot Topic? Absolutely not.
Yeah. I'm Purple Pansy. I'm ignoring that question, but I'm just ignoring that question. Anyway. Okay. Well. Yeah. So we were talking about your travel. Yeah, you've been all over the place, and then even between, like, I travel weekend to weekend sometimes with like CCS and PPG, but then in between, you're traveling for work, and I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. Lots of no sleep. I can't have caffeine. Fun fact, because I only have one kidney, so I just have to like
suck it up,
make it work.
Oh.
Here's now we're going to uncover some amazing marketing materials for GameStop. Dude, probably. Like you were showing me the one thing that you got this past weekend, right? What was it the playmat?
Oh, yeah, you want to see more tchotchkes?
Yeah. Oh, you just have it. This is like another thing. Like I know 2 weeks ago when we saw the Quest in the Park stuff, and I'm just like, imagine how cool that would be if that's how we got introduced to Disney Lorcana instead of just random pictures. And this is just another one of those things.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish. All right, let me do this thing here. Random So again, I like collecting ephemera, like things that aren't supposed to be collected necessarily. And this is it's hard to get it on screen here. This is a playmat that came off the cruise ship. It's laminated paper, but this I think is what they use to teach people how to play during the event on that Disney cruise. And somebody got a hold of one, and yeah, I got a message just like, hey, do you want this for your like Lorcana history collection? And I was like, yeah, sure. So.
Somebody's like, Liam, would you like this random thing that no one else probably has access to? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like the history. And all right, now we're in showing how much. Like last thing in it, because I got to shout him out. So I was trying to collect like for history and like a scrapbook and all that, some of the stuff from the first season of challenges. And oh, sorry, Aaron. Oh no, that's not Aaron. That's the dog we're dog sitting. This is wild show already. So I'm trying to collect different things from different challenges, and one of the things I'm still trying to hunt down is all the little prize tickets, like the colored ones from the various.
Oh yeah, like because I remember in Atlanta when we first got them, we were like, I wonder if these will transfer, and then each DLC had different colored tickets, so you couldn't transfer, which was ingenious, and I loved it.
I totally agree. Like I can imagine the secondary market for those tickets if they hadn't made them different colors.
Yes, I can, because in Atlanta, like the tickets, because people were going crazy for the Indie Playmats in Atlanta, so like people were selling tickets for like $20 a pop. It was insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. But so while I was collecting these, I got offered these from our good friend Craig over at Matified. These are all of his first season badges. So it's literally like his season in a little pile here. So Seattle competitor badge, Las Vegas, Toronto. He gave me these so I could scrapbook them up, and they're all even signed.
Just for fun. Hold on, one second.
All right. Have we collected a locket of hair clippings from a bald man? I have not. This sounds like something you need for like Witch's Brew, R&B.
And an award from a toad.
An award from a toad.
So, I mean, just because you like had all of that. So I've got all of mine.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can. Let's see. There's Atlanta, and then Chicago was after Atlanta, right?
Yep.
Chicago, Atlanta, Texas,
Dallas. Yep. Yeah.
Toronto, Vegas.
Yep.
Seattle, and then Continentals. So yeah, all the things.
That's also history, Bob McCoo. Yeah, it's so cool. Like, yeah, it's literally like your season in in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, and then so like for instance, at which one was it? It was Seattle. I forget who it was that was walking around, but they had the buttons, and
oh, dude,
she was handing them out, and it says 6 of 6 DLCs. It's not being very nice.
Yeah, that's right. Sick.
So I forget who was giving those out, but yeah. 6 of 6 DLCs button. That's cool. And then during Continentals, it was my birthday, and Katie from Lore Keepers Inn went to one of the Disney parks and got me a Disney birthday pin. So that was cool.
That's super cool.
But yeah, I mean, so ever since like my brother and I, when we were traveling for Smash Brothers, I kept a lot of those lanyards and things, and so this was just kind of natural for me. But it's kind of weird to just look back and all these, because all these are very special memories tied to them, and the lanyards are cool.
Yeah. I have to admit, I am thinking about trying to send a couple of these badges off to PSA to see if they'll put them in slabs. Why? Cool. I'm not sure. But I don't know. It's a thing in my head that I want to do. So first Twitter comment of the night. You Twitter folks are quiet. So Big Thunder, thanks for opening the chat. Yeah.
So we have a thing in the Maelstrom Discord. That is how we greet each other. Just yurt. And so now if we're ever at events and you hear that, it's probably a Maelstrom member.
That's fair.
Signaling to somebody else.
Shout out to Big Thunder who knows who's inside. Yeah, I've got, all right, we didn't talk about this weekend, but I think mine are all over here. But like the funny thing with these, like I actually, like every challenge, I didn't find out I was commenting till late. So I think every challenge I had a ticket to play. on the off chance I didn't get to commentate. And every time I would go to the desk and be like, "Hey, can I have my competitor's badge? Like I paid for it." And they're like, "No, you cannot."
But I paid for it.
Yeah. It's a fun fact. They had staff badges for us for the first challenge, and then they switched over to media badges later. I don't know. Anyway, all right, cool. Oh, last story, just getting it's ran up on. Did get my first bracelets of the new season. I got Goats Bounce Goat from Colorado Lorcana. So shout out to you all. And I did get Bree and Courtney from Enchanted Chatter gave me a bracelet as well. But Olena has stolen that, and I have no idea where it is. So I have to hunt that down. Anyway, broadcaster. Yeah, there was a broadcaster badge for Continentals, and for everything else though, we just had media badges. Okay, and yeah, all right, cool.
Also, I think it was Enchanted Chatter who was actually at Denver that was giving us bracelets. So
yes,
shout out to them. That was awesome. It was the first time I've actually seen them in person, so that was cool.
Yeah, I think that was Bree giving out bracelets that I believe Courtney made. So it's like a team effort to get those out. So it's super cool.
I know by the end of the day, Ashley was Colors Law. She had like 4 of them to like spell her own word.
Oh, that's awesome. I absolutely love the bracelet thing. Speaking of Enchanted Chatter, that's a nice segue. I was going to say this near the end, but since we're in the beginning and we brought them up, this weekend, if you're in the Dallas area at all or want to drive to the Dallas area, there's a fun little tournament, the Diet Coke Invitational, that's happening on Sunday. I'll be there with some other folks, and I think they have like 100 people or so registered. So everybody stay tuned to Twitch to watch the broadcast coverage of the Diet Coke Invitational, where the entrance fee is a 12-pack of Diet Coke and nothing else. And if you're in the area, come play, because it'll be fun. So
that was another one of those that I was like, I would like to get to, and then my life got hectic with travel, and now I'm just like, I can't go to Texas the weekend. Yeah, I need a weekend, man.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Especially after this weekend. So let's dive in a little bit to SSG. I got to broadcast, but I didn't get to experience like the tournament itself. Like Logan, what was the tournament like for you? Like, how did it go? Like, what, you arrived, what'd you think? I don't know.
So I will say that like the staff of PPG was doing their absolute best through any problems we were having. Shout out to Cassie in particular. Like anytime I had a question, Cassie was just like always on the spot, ready to just try to troubleshoot, put out fires, and do whatever. I have absolutely no complaints or qualms with PPG staff or the 20 lore guys that were running production. Like from that side of things, they were killing it. Absolutely.
Apparently, I said SSG.
Yeah, PPG.
PPG.
But
PPG. You all know what I meant. All right.
So because it was a CCQ weekend, they were required to use Ravensburger PlayHub. This was not the first time I've been in an event that was using Ravensburger PlayHub, but this is the first 200 plus person event weekend that I was a part of. So the Friday event starts, first 2 rounds seemingly go just fine. And then at the end of round 2, they let us know that Ravensburger PlayHub has deleted round 2. So we get to do that again. And from that point on, I think the tournament was just kind of, it was altered course permanently. There was nothing we could do to fix it. There were people at the end of round 2 that were X2 that all of a sudden were X1 and essentially had like a redemption bracket to come back. In my opinion, from like that point, we don't know what the true outcome of the tournament was supposed to be, because it altered it just altered the outcome in general. I will say that for the rest of Friday, we used Ravensburger PlayHub, and it went out without a hitch as far as I'm concerned. I was able to make top 16 in that event, and then promptly got crushed in top 16 by a 14-year-old. I forget his name. He's a local in Ohio, but he was playing Emerald Sapphire and was absolutely destroyed me. Like one of the fastest O2s I think I've ever had. Played very well. Was very surprised by it. And I think he ended up making the finals. Actually, he beat Tiago in Swiss in 10 minutes, which is another accomplishment in and of itself. And then met Tiago again, and I believe top 8, either top 8 or top 4, and smashed Tiago again. So like, shout out to him. He was Ryan. Was it Ryan Yorg?
Yeah.
Dayton local Ryan Yorg. Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to Ryan Yorg. Absolutely, just absolutely phenomenal player. Obviously picked the right deck for Friday and just crushed with it. Like it was great.
I will note, I believe this is Ryan's. I think he dabbled in like 1 or 2, just a little bit, but this is his first serious TCG. And his dad, usually when you have like a younger player who's like really good, like you talk to the parent and the parent's like, or dad or mom's like, yeah, I was a Pro Tour player, you know, taught him all this stuff. Nope. Dad started playing Lorcana just to be able to play with Ryan, and it's his first TCG. So shout out to them.
I will say I've ran into Ryan before at a SCG con in Ohio. And I think he made top cut at that event as well. So, I mean, obviously consistent, obviously doing well. Keep it going. Yeah, this list. This was the thing. So, like, we had seen that he'd played this in Swiss earlier in the day, and we were just trying to, like, reverse engineer it in our heads because we were like, you're playing Scrooge and Baymax and Hades and Under the Sea and others. Like, how do you have room for all of these uninkables? And he just made it work.
Yeah.
There was at one point in our game, I just looked at the board and I'm like, you have 5 5/5s on the board. I can't do anything about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Crazy performance. Probably one of my favorite stories of the weekend, to be quite honest. Yeah. But plenty to say on like the meta and like the meta implications of this, but I want to get through like talking about the sequence of events, you know, and Friday and how all that went. Yeah. Yeah. Or anything else. We can gotta have the I know. Shikano saying gotta have the kid in the show. Yes, we'd love to. I just, you know, sometimes it's hard to find people's contact information right off the bat. And so it's something we're looking to do. So Bobby,
even harder for children.
Yeah, that's true. Because you have to go through the parents and make sure the parents are okay. And it's a whole, we want to make sure we do it right. So Bobby, if you know how to contact Ryan's dad, let me know. So yeah. What else on Friday?
I mean, that was pretty well it from my end on Friday.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were required to use Ravensburger PlayHub, and after the round 2 kerfuffle, it went off without a hitch. But again, like I do have to say, it was very frustrating to have that happen because, like I said, after that point, the outcome of the tournament was changed permanently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was laughing. I was thinking of different stories. I talked to a player who was friends with somebody who had dropped after round 2. And there was a big delay between the rounds when they were figuring this out. So dropped after round 2 and then signed up for a side event. And then they started again. And he was actually actively playing in both tournaments. He actually won. He made the finals or won the side event while he was playing in the main event as well. Somehow. I don't, yeah, wild. Can I this,
what about second round?
this I died. Credit to a member of your team for this, but I don't know. Sometimes things are like so frustrating. You just have to laugh and like, you know, have a good time with it. And this is an example of just having fun.
No, for sure. I mean, like I said, after the events of it, I mean, like, you know, we can look back at it now and be like, oh man, that was okay. But I'm not gonna lie, like in the moment, it's very stressful.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'll echo what you said. You know, that we're getting a new system online. Definitely had issues, and I think the communication with the players and the way that the event handled it could have gone a lot worse. And eventually, we did finish up the tournament. But yeah, just a frustrating thing. But I appreciate all the players sticking with it.
No, I mean, I will say again, like, shout out to the PPG staff that were just keeping things rolling. Like I said, all weekend I had no issues with PPG staff. They were doing their absolute best to let us know what was going on at every point and to try to give us as much information as possible and to keep things rolling during Saturday when the real fun was going on. I don't know if do you want to get into Saturday, like from a player's perspective, since you were behind the booth? Because I know you guys had your own like levels of stress and things you were dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, why don't we start there, and I can talk about then what it looked like on the broadcast side. And for the audience, like we are going to talk about the meta and some deck lists and all of that as well. So we will cover all of that. We're going to have a guest on here in a little bit. But we do want to talk about I mean, it really have to talk about the conduct of the tournament because it is the first CCQ and it's the first big, PlayHub event. So yeah, we gotta go through it. So. Anyway, yeah, Saturday. How'd it go?
Wow. Saturday was genuinely the longest tournament day I believe I've ever had in my Lorcana career. Kind of the same thing as Friday. We get to the end of round 2 and I run to go refill my water bottle, and as I'm refilling my water bottle, I just start hearing people go, "It crashed again." And I'm like, "Please no. Please tell me this isn't what's happening." So I'm not sure how much time actually, like you probably have a better judge of time how long it took, but after round 2, PlayHub was just down. We did not lose the round like we did on Friday, but it just crashed and we couldn't use it anymore. I believe for rounds 3 and 4, we were able to use it again. They got it back up and running, but then the system crashed again. When it crashed again, we then moved to an entirely different tournament website to start recording all of our rounds. But I think we started using paper slips before that and then moved into that. Then I think it was around round 7, they tried to go back to Ravensburger PlayHub. It lasted for exactly 1 round. It crashed again. And then we went back to paper slips and the other tournament thing. I will say that swapping between what felt like 4 different ways of recording games was exhausting. It was tiring. It was at times confusing. Ravensburger PlayHub, from transferring data from it to what we were using, people were getting reports of wrong scores all day. There were people who were being randomly dropped. I know Humble in round 2 got randomly dropped. There was also an issue in round 1. Anybody who had won a round 1 bye was supposed to, just have that, right? A lot of us that did have round 1 buys went up to the kiosk to let them know, hey, this is who I am. Here's my thing that I won. And in my instance, I was told, cool, you're good. You have your round 1 buy. You don't have to do anything else. Round 1 comes along and I'm paired into somebody. I call a judge. We get it sorted out. They take me out of that pairing to give me my buy, but then my opponent is left with no opponent. There were a lot of instances where that exact scenario happened and they weren't able to give the person who was paired into somebody who was having a buy an opponent. So that person also just got a buy. So at the end of round 1, I believe Cassie told me there were 42 buys of people who just didn't have to play, which I think just because of that, it put more wins in the pool than there were supposed to be because, after round 1, you're supposed to have X amount of losses, X amount of wins, right? But it skewed the numbers so hard that, again, is another random thing that just kind of alters the outcome of the event permanently because after round 1, there are far more wins in the pool than there are supposed to be. So breaker math in the later rounds start to get harder. People aren't able to draw in, like, say you're undefeated. You had to be like 7-0 to draw in. X11, I think, was on the bubble, just like it was on Friday.
It was, yeah.
So just from somebody who's a part of it, like, the system's just not ready. I think it needs more time to work out all of the kinks. We were having just unique problems show up all day. Like another problem I had from my Friday to Saturday event, I paired into 5 of the same people
Hmm.
in a 300 person event.
Hmm.
And that's just like statistically not supposed to happen. Like from rounds like 2 to 6, it felt like I was just redoing my tournament from the day before.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say something about like I suppose near the end when like the best players are, but even then, like it. Yeah, interesting.
So, like, I mean, for instance, I'm not saying by any means anybody who had the records to make top cut, absolutely, they deserve all their flowers. It's still a very hard thing to do to go so many rounds undefeated and actually make top cut. Like if you did it, you did it. You deserve it. Absolutely. The system itself just has some bugs and some kinks, and they need some time to work on it. I think I've said it on Twitter, but I will say it again. This cannot be the first DLC experience for people. It cannot. It would be such a long, like you're just turning what is already a logistically long day into something that's an even longer day because of delays. Like we started at 10, round 9, like we had 9 rounds, which is a lot for some people. And we didn't leave until like 11 o'clock. And they had to push top cut into the next day.
Yeah.
And for DLCs, we're talking about running 12 rounds.
Yeah.
With 10 times the amount of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate because I think and I've said this from the beginning, I really like the approach of building an in-house platform. I mean, I know people got used to Melee and all that, but the control that once Ravensburger PlayHub is ready, like the control that the company will have to change the interface, to add new features, to integrate a bunch of different things like deck lists and tournament software and all of that all into one platform, is very, very cool. And I'm really, really excited about, you have Tournament Finder in there in the same place that you can enter a deck list. Like there's so many possibilities that I think it's really, really good for the game and the community to pursue this platform. And I'm very, very, very excited about Ravensburger PlayHub. I cannot emphasize that enough. In fact, some of the things you can do in the round, like when you're observing, being able to see the matches and the wins and the losses and all that, and even the round timer, and there's really cool features. So with all of that up front, yeah, I agree with you. You can't. At some point, it has to go live. At some point, you have to do your first big event. At some point, you have to do your first, challenge. Maybe it'll be Milwaukee. Maybe they get it all together, and maybe they fix the issues, and Bologna and Milwaukee run perfectly smooth. It is possible.
I agree.
But I agree with you. There's a cost benefit analysis here, a risk reward analysis that's going to have to be made. Contingencies will have to be put into place because the risk of the cost of the system doing what it did this weekend at an official challenge is going to be very, 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 very high. And it could result in people never playing in another challenge again, or abandoning competitive play completely if this is their first experience with competitive play. So,
I mean, like, so for instance, this weekend, there's a lot of people who are just very much so already just really bought into the game, right? People who just, it almost felt like a mini DLC just from all of the friends that, we saw throughout the weekend. And I agree with you that I think the implication and use and idea of us having our own tournament software is really cool. Being able to customize your profile, use ink colors in an official way. It's really cool. And to its credit, it has gotten better. There are a lot of things from the first time I used Ravensburger PlayHub to this past weekend that did not exist, that does now exist. They are improving it as it's going on. You can now go to a My Events tab and actually see those things instead of needing a link. You can now do certain things as far as like searching people, looking up matches live as they're
Yeah.
going on, finding standings live as they're going on. Those things were working well when they were working.
It's very cool.
But the delays that it caused from the crashes and the problems just and then just crashing completely and us not being able to use it at all was, I mean, it's just concerning.
Yeah.
And like, you know, this is something we all want to see succeed because it would be really, really cool for the game to have this. But I think at the moment, I think it just needs more time.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, who knows? It could be I am not a programmer. In high school, I learned how to code a little bit of BASIC. That's the extent of my coding skills, and I think I could do like 2 things with it.
I could change my Facebook profile background.
Yes, I could change my MySpace. But so who knows? Like perhaps there is a bug that's really easy to identify and fix, and everything's smooth for Milwaukee. I don't know. You know, it clearly wasn't ready this weekend. Maybe it'll be ready in time for a challenge. Don't know. But I just hope everybody understands the potential consequences of this happening at a challenge. And I think, and I will say this before we close this topic and move on to our guest and talk about the meta. Thank goodness that this happened now and not a challenge. Like, yes, it was really frustrating for everybody there. But it was a smaller event, and PPG was able to get it together and pull it off. But if this hadn't happened this weekend, and we hadn't seen, you know, some of the issues, it could have happened at Bologna. And so, as frustrating as it was for all of you, I'm grateful that that the issues were identified for everybody, ahead of time.
No, for sure. And again, like, shout out to the PPG staff because they were doing their best at every point in turn to communicate with us what was going on, tell us what we were moving to keep things rolling, trying to keep things moving as best they could, on time as best they could. I genuinely, like, I cannot thank them enough. Like I said, like the specific one, Cassie, for instance, like every time I had a question or just randomly was like, hey, do you know what's going on? Like, she was always just quick to answer and wasn't dismissive, wasn't like, we don't know, or what's going on. Like, there was always an actionable plan and a way that they were going to move forward. Absolutely, shout out to that staff for, I mean, just being the heroes that we needed for the weekend. Absolutely. But I genuinely think that looking forward to Bologna and Milwaukee, because Bologna is supposedly going to be the first event, that's 10 times bigger than what the CCQ was, that's going to be using this. There needs to be some sort of contingency plan in place in case something like this happens again. Or I think they need to just accept that it needs more time, and that's okay that it needs more time.
Yeah. I agree. I will say, last piece, like I will say for anybody going, like if you go and Ravensburger PlayHub is what's being used, I trust, and I think there'll probably be contingencies in place. So at the very, very least, if we're going to stress test it again at a DLC and we're going to use it, the contingencies being in place so that we can pivot quickly if something happens. I definitely hope that is in place.
Yeah. I mean, we were able to pivot fairly quickly this weekend to the new software, and we're using paper slips. And like I said, all the staff were, just killing it to make that work. And we did continue the tournament.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did continue and finish the tournament on Saturday, despite the issues, because of the PPG staff. And I cannot thank them enough for that.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. We could go the whole evening about this. Let's do some other stuff. So, for anybody tuning in, you saw our thumbnail. We were hoping to have Skylar here. Skylar, unfortunately, is still driving back to home and probably will not make it. So, unfortunately, we're not going to hear from him tonight, but we'll try to have him on later. Instead, we have a fantastic guest who I've been hoping to have on for a couple weeks now, but I was really slow about inviting her last week. So before we finish talking about, oh, sorry, hold on, Aaron, am I blocking you out? Oh, you need which thing? Oh,
She's like, please
hold
give me
on.
the thing.
Hold on, we need the blue thing under the table.
Ah, the ominous blue thing under the table.
Yeah, it is the blue thing under the table. It's a bin, and it happens to have my South Side.
One of your many hats.
One of my many hats. I have over here. I have the Incredibles hat. I'm gonna have a hat shelf. Anyway. Oh, sorry, that's a terrible introduction. So okay, I've been hoping to have her on for a couple weeks.
By the way, Incredibles and guest
because out at CCS we talked a little bit about the main event last week and how that went, and the meta and all that breakdown. But there were a couple other events there too, including a kids event and a women's event. And Tanya from Team Ohana won the women's event, and I'm really excited to have her on the show to hear about her experience. Tanya, hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I say this every time, but I can see the guests in the green room, and I have to like always do an intro so they know like it's time, because I've ambushed people before, and it so anyway, how are
I feel
you?
like I definitely do that to people whenever we have them on our podcast too, is I'm just like, oh man, I just added them in and they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, they're like mid.
Yeah, mid sip, just like trying to just like focus up. But yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Best day of my life. Couldn't be better.
Recovering, I think.
I was planning on going to Denver, and just listening to you guys talk about that made me really glad I didn't go. It was kind of sad.
I mean,
it had its moment.
It was worth going. I will say that. Like, as through all the stress and things like that, I did enjoy myself for the majority of the event. I mean, it genuinely did feel like a mini DLC with all of the friends that were there. So that part of it, the community aspect, was fantastic.
Always is. Yeah, that's like the best part of like DLCs and events like that, is like seeing people you like don't see forever and just talk to online all the time.
No, absolutely. It's just one big family gathering when we have.
Yeah, you have fans in the chat, Tanya. A lot of fans out here.
Yeah. Yes.
So we are rewinding a couple weeks for this. This was just a week. Wow.
Yeah, it feels like way longer. I will say that.
Yeah.
It feels like forever ago at this point. There's been a lot of events like back to back too. I feel like it's been like one full month of just like insane events going on. So
yeah,
which is awesome. That's how we know we're in full swing for season 2.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We had a lull for a while where people were like, man, are we ever going to see competitive events? And now, like, since the beginning of this month to the end of next month, it feels like every weekend there's something
going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I love that so much.
All the competitive events. Yeah. So this was like just a week ago. Wow. So you played in the CCS main event, and then the next day you played in the women's event. Before I talk, I want to talk about your deck list and your performance and everything else. But like, how was that? Like, how did you enjoy the that tournament?
So the main event, I am not gonna lie, I did not enjoy it at all. I had such a bad experience. Just like leading up to CCS was kind of a nightmare. I'm sure I'm gonna say this and everybody's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, but the fight for Dumbos was intense leading up to CCS. So everybody in our group was trying to get them, trying to play them. So I ended up taking the hit, and I was like, I'll play a Dumbo list. Somebody else can have my play set. And I was very confident going into the event, and I thought I was gonna do fine, and it was not it. But I had a really great time after the fact, once I kind of like moped to myself in a corner for 5 minutes, and because we had 2 people go that it was their first event, and they both ended up, I think, like top 60, which is kind of crazy because it's both of them. It was like their first like big event as well. So, but like watching the atmosphere was like kind of nice because it was like post rotation. Everybody's playing different lists. There's no blue red in the meta. It's kind of cool. I say that, but I also play blue red. So or
we can't
sapphire,
have
ruby sapphire.
we can't have ruby sapphire haters here. Come on.
I love
Yeah.
ruby sapphire. I've been trying to make it work
No.
since rotation, and it just disappoints me every time.
Losing the draw engines hurt just a little.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
tiny bit.
I have to take a quick second to say shout out to the Raiders. JDZ, thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure hanging out with you this weekend, and I hope your stream went well. I caught a little bit in the beginning, and when you were talking with Sky. So yeah, hope the rest of your stream went well, and you got that Maleficent staff deck rocking. And thanks for the raid, and welcome Raiders. Thanks for joining us. If you're just joining us, Raiders, we're here talking with Tanya, the winner of the women's tournament last week at CCS. And we're going to transition from this to talking about the meta and how the PPG meta. You missed kind of the spicy conversation. So we're going to talk a little bit about the meta and the decks after that. So no, he had a rough go, they say. Sad. Sad. Anyway. Okay. Sorry, Tanya. I had to.
No, you're good.
Had to shout out my favorite broadcaster there, JD. All right, so Saturday didn't go well.
It did not for me anyways, but most of our group and most of our team did like really well. I was very happy. Out of 400 people, I think we had everybody in the top 100, which is crazy because there was almost everybody, a majority of us were in the top, or of them were in the top 100, which was kind of crazy. Out of like 420 something people, I think it was like 8 of them were in top 100. So
nice.
There was lots of grinding going on, like the 2 weeks leading up to CCS, and everybody wanted to do so well, and I'm just glad that they did because it was a really great time. The vibes were there for sure.
Like even for us moving into, because we had Ink the same weekend. So Maelstrom split up. We had 4 of us at Ink and we had 4 of us at CCS. And I mean, we were doing weekly team meetings. Everybody was doing just hours a day of just testing and trying to get things done. So I feel you on the stress part for sure.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was literally bringing my iPad to work and just like in between like doing stuff, I was like playing Lorcanito, like testing my deck. Oh, the website we don't talk about, but
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, it was nuts. We were at somebody's house or locals like almost every single day. It felt like it was a lot of fun. We were gonna split up and go Ink and CCS, but I think everybody was like, we love CCS. We love going to CCS. We've never been to Ink. We were gonna go originally, and then we were like, invitational. CCS. We love CCS, so we went there instead.
Don't get me wrong, I also love CCS. This was actually the first one I've missed and the only reason I did was because Ink is on the same weekend, and Ink is a 3-hour drive, and CCS is a plane ride away. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
One of those is cheaper.
Yeah.
Logistically, it just made sense to go to the local tournament.
Yeah.
But I mean, much to your point, I mean, CCS also just had some of the biggest names of the game. I believe Zan was there. I believe Ed was there. I think Zach Bivens was there.
Bivens was there, yeah.
And then, we had Sailor, Tumble, R&B.
Yeah, there were so many people there. I know a couple people in our group were like, how many Worlds competitors are there? And I was like, don't think about it. It's like, just don't think about stuff like that. Just play like it's normal. Like it's okay. And then they sit across from them or they sit next to them and they're like freaking out. And I'm just like, you're stressing yourself out. It's fine.
The fun part is that they're humans like everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they're all really chill. We have, because Bivens is kind of like local to our area. So like we see him like all the time. Well, not all the time, but he comes out to like a lot of the bigger tournaments and stuff. So like he's like the one that like nobody is ever like worried about. But then they see like everybody else and they're like, oh my gosh, all these people. It's like the fanfare is funny.
Well, so we've talked a little bit about your Friday event. Can you tell us more about your Saturday event? What were your feelings going into it? What were things you were expecting versus things you actually saw?
So going into Sunday for the ladies tournament was I woke up at like 6:30 and I was like, I'm not playing the same deck list that I played yesterday. And I like sat down at the table and I like laid all the cards out that I brought, laid my deck out, and I was like, I don't know what I want to play. I was like, this didn't work, and I just started like taking it apart. I expected to see a lot more Amber Steel aggro than I did. I only played 2 Amber Steel aggro lists, and I kind of teched my deck against it more so, but it kind of helped out in the mirror match. Um, I did see a Ruby Steel list that scared the crap out of me. It was literally a war of attrition. Who was going to turn their card sideways first? I was very afraid of a 1-drop 4-1 happy because there was 2 Lumieres on the board. So it was, I did not turn my Genie sideways for like 4 turns. It was like really weird. Um, but it was a lot of fun. I don't know. Like I was expecting to see more Amber Steel, but my deck kind of like did its thing. I saw draw cards on Sunday and I didn't see them on Saturday, so like that was cool.
I do like the inclusion of the Treasure Guardian. So this is something that Tiago and Humble and I were talking about just this past weekend.
Mhm.
He cut down on Treasure Guardians because I think he completely cut Palace Guard. So he was just down on illusions, and he added the 4-drop Dolores that draws you a card whenever your opponent has a card exerted. And that ended up working out for him. But you only have the 2 with, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, only 8 illusions off of
Mhm.
Treasure Guardian. How often were you able to get that off? Was it pretty natural, or like?
Almost every time I played him, I drew a card. Um, and if I didn't draw like if I was gonna play him without the effect of drawing, then on most of the time it was literally just to gain the 2 lore, to like push for game. But I was playing 4 Treasure Guardian and 4 Palace Guard on Saturday, and it just like felt really bad for some reason. I don't know what it was. I just felt like my hands were always like kind of clunky, and maybe it was just because I had too many 1-drops in the deck. And I even still kind of feel like I had too many 1-drops in the deck, but like the Namari kind of helped me filter like the 1-drops out of my hand on the Sunday event, so like it felt a little bit better. I was kind of surprised at how often I procced Treasure Guardian on on Sunday, to be honest, because I wasn't playing as many illusions. The fact that you talk about Dolores, when I saw Tiago's list and he was on Dolores, I'm pretty sure it was Tiago's list, and he was on Dolores. Me and Dom, one of the guys that came with us, sat down and looked at our Amber Steel list or our Amethyst Steel list, and we were like, I was like, I don't like Dolores because we're currently in a meta that people are not turning their cards sideways. So like I always worry that like it's just like yes, it quest for 2, it's got a body, like all of that is fine. But I'm just like, people are like literally just not turning their cards sideways. So you just gotta hope on turn 4 that somebody's got a card turned sideways. And so like that was like my argument for not playing her. Um there was the Brit who I played in the finals. She was playing it and she always procced it off of me, but I also am like not afraid to turn my cards sideways. So like that's like the like all quests whatever, like that doesn't bother me. But yeah, I just like I'm always like so I was very wishy-washy on if I would play Dolores or not. Originally in my original list I was playing her, and then I was like I didn't like it because nobody at my locals exerts their characters.
So yeah, I absolutely see that. I don't see Dolores as a turn 4 play most of the time.
Mhm.
If you're on the play, you're really just trying to play Genie on turn 4. But if you're on the
Yeah.
draw with this list, you're just trying to play multiple little guys.
Yeah.
So I think like the inclusion of the Dolores is like it's the expectation on turn like 5, 6, 7 is when you're actually going to play her.
Yeah.
It's for that the real mid to late game when you're just trying to be like, oh hey, look, here's another 2 lore and drawing a card. But I absolutely see your point. I do think the Namari is interesting though, just because getting to 5 ink can forcing yourself to need 5 ink all of the time for just a big body. I see the filter effect. I mean, you said it came in handy for you pretty often. I mean, was it like,
Yeah.
would you think like every set that was coming in, or is like, would you say it was intermittently throughout
I
the day?
I think I played her, so I always know that I'm at least gonna get to 5 ink. I generally never went over unless I was playing against somebody that was inking for me. Um, but
Into the unknown. Anyway,
Yeah.
but I was like never really worried about getting to 5. I generally will like work to get to 5, and then like I never really ink that much after that. Maybe 6 at the most. But like the Namari, I just felt like was like I played her twice. That was it. I only played her out twice, but the simple act of inking a Namari, like I felt like was just like terrifying for some of my opponents because they're just like, why is she playing this card in her deck? Like that just seems so off. But it when I did play it, it came in handy. So like it was worth it, I guess.
yeah, that's fair.
Everybody was like, "Why are you playing that?" Because I didn't show anybody my deck list before I played, and then I showed everybody, and they were like, "I would have never told you to play that card. Why did you play that card?" So it was pretty funny.
I've never heard of somebody, and I should have before this, but I can't remember hearing of somebody using a card as like a mind game.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I played Yu-Gi-Oh before this. Everything's a mind game.
Where's JD? Get him back in here. Talk about Yu-Gi-Oh. That's funny. Seven Dwarfs Mine. I know a lot of people run it. And I saw some people. I saw it played a little bit in the 2 events that I covered. But it didn't do a lot for folks. What's kind of is this the anti-aggro?
Yeah, it's
event?
kind of like anti-aggro, and then on top of that, like I honestly, I really, yeah, I really just played it in case I saw Amber still aggro. I felt like it was fine. It's either like a really good turn 2 if you have like absolutely nothing else in your hand, or you're like not playing it until like way later in the game to like potentially like just gain like passive lore and make them deal with the rest of your board or the mine or something like that. And I was going to play it in the main event, but then kind of just didn't. I was like, I don't think I like it. I don't think it would have been good in the main event. Just the way that I was playing the deck, thinking about playing the deck, I don't think it would have been fine for me. But it did really well for me in the ladies tournament. I think it gained me like 10 or 11 lore during my round 6, the final round of Swiss. Like my opponent just like didn't take care of it, and it just like I was like, sick. 10 lore is super awesome from a location. Like I'll take it.
I mean, there are times when you plop that out and you have multiple other threats, and you just have to prioritize the other things instead of that. Like if you have a Treasure Guardian or a Bell or a Jafar, just anything with 2 lore pips on board, Dwarves Mine just kind of gets to survive another turn because you have to worry about taking out the other things. And most of the time it's at the cost of their other characters because those are things with bodies.
Yep. Yeah, Dwarves Mine definitely put in work for me.
Nice. Okay. That's awesome. Well, congrats on taking down that tournament. Like super awesome.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Different vibe.
Oh yeah. It's a totally different vibe than playing in any main event. During the finals, actually, the judge and I, the judge was like sitting next to us, and me and Britt were just like laughing and like cackling and like joking with each other. And I looked over at like her husband and my boyfriend were sitting next to us, and I looked over and I was like, you guys would never see this in the finals of the main event. And the judge looked at me and was like, no,
Nope.
never. And I was like, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like all around a good time, like for the ladies event, and we just try to have fun, and it's like a little bit, I don't want to say more casual because like the ladies are really competitive, but like it's just like a very different scene and very like friendly, I think. Way more friendly.
Like for sure. I will say that not the last CCS I was able to go to at that ladies event, I talked with TFM Melissa a lot while she was in the event before she was preparing up to it, and she said she had a great time in the event. Like as we were watching, like in general it feels like across the board sometimes you guys are friendlier with each other than just the main event competitors are with each other in general.
Yeah.
I don't know, it looked like it was a good time. And then when Top Cut was made in that, I mean, all of you guys just seemed like you were friends instead of just
Yeah.
like, all right, cool, now let's get serious about this. All of a sudden, everybody
Yeah.
was like, all right, cool, now let's go do this, I guess, if we have to. Like,
Yeah, it's definitely a very different vibe, I will say. It just I guess for me, like coming from like Yu-Gi-Oh, and then like it's Yu-Gi-Oh is also a very different vibe, but like it's just like super competitive. Everybody's really sweaty. Like nobody talks to each other. If you think you're gonna be in Top Cut, like don't even come near me. Like it's like that sometimes. But the ladies event is never like that. I don't think we're all just chilling, having a good time, wanting somebody to win. So
we just want somebody to win. We don't know. We don't necessarily care who.
yeah. It's a good time though. I love it. And it's nice like seeing a lot more ladies like come out and like find like a comfortable place to play, which I think is like a really big deal. Like I would love to play in the 5K, but I will also always support the ladies tournament because I want like more women to come out and play and like find a comfortable place and then eventually like move to the 5K. Because I think that's a lot of like the struggle or barrier for women is like getting into the game. They're very standoffish with the way that men can come off a little bit intimidating sometimes, like not so friendly. So it's just like a good place to start, I think, and then like kind of gain your confidence and move to a different something more, I guess, the 5K.
For sure. I mean, I will say that's why my team, especially, we try to be as inviting as possible, and we try to be as public and loud and saying, if you are at an event and you feel uncomfortable or you don't necessarily have somebody that you can be like, oh, hey, these are friends. Like if you see anybody in one of the Maelstrom jerseys, like please come say hello. Or if you feel like you just need a friend, like just come say hi. We'll make sure you feel as included as possible. I mean, you know, we were talking about the 14-year-old that was at the event this past weekend. I want to see this community and tournaments be a place where everybody can come and have fun and not feel judged or feel intimidated to just jump in and like be a part of it. So I'm glad that you have a space that you feel is facilitating that to maybe build up the confidence to get people in there and even just getting them a part of the community. If you know, I've known a lot of people that have got in and done a couple of tournaments and said, you know, the actual hyper competitive thing isn't what I want to do, but all the friends that I'm making is what's really pushing me to go to these events.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this is kind of a space that's facilitating both of those things, and that's great.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like that's exactly what it is too. So.
Yeah, I love the idea of stepping stones like as well. I talked to a lot of people at the tournament this weekend, gathered a lot of stories. One that stuck with me was a woman who was playing in the tournament, and she was talking about her experience with the game and first big TCG tournament was PPG, and she and her husband got into Lorcana and like through seeing a poster and like being invited to this game store. And she said that when she has a lot of social anxiety, and when they went to go to the starter deck event, like their very first Lorcana experience ever, and like paused outside for a few minutes because he's just like a lot of social anxiety about going in for the first time and experiencing this new place with it's very male dominated and all that. And went in and like they talked about it. They said, we're going to do this. You know, they went in and had just an amazing time, became part of the Lorcana community, and now is at PPG playing in this, you know, big event. And, you know, those types of moments are happening all the time in TCGs and in, you know, just life in general, I guess. And if that first experience, like at that game store, had been even just an okay one, probably the entire trajectory of, you know, the last year changes. And so I love the idea of, you know, stepping stones of like of starter deck tournaments, or in this case, perhaps, this women's competitive event that people can go to and experience and then be like, oh yeah, okay, this is competitive play. I got this. And then, you know, move on to a place that is perhaps not as comfortable, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I feel like that's how it, because we've definitely had a couple of people like in our group and at our locals that are like, that have kind of said that, where they're like, I was super intimidated. I like it's like really weird saying this because like we're not that big, like we're not like Maelstrom, right? Like Team Ohana is like super small. We're very like locals oriented. But like in North Carolina, people like know kind of, I guess, like who we are. And every time we show up anywhere, people like will tell us that they get intimidated. It's like really awkward because I'm like, why? I'm like literally nobody. Like, but like I don't think that any of our team like members have ever had like a negative experience with anybody. Like we're always like Logan said, very open, very like if you need a friend, come talk to us. Like we always chit chat it with people. Like it's I don't know, it's a very welcoming community and like we've kind of brought a lot of people in and a lot of our locals have wanted to become more competitive and like dip their toes in like the CCS experience, which is like super cool. So it's like I love seeing people go from like super casual to like competitive players and like wanting to sweat with us. I'm like, this is sick.
Yeah.
That is legitimately one of my favorite things. To see somebody who like was just kind of dipping their toes in, and then a few months later they're just like, I need 4 Dumbos. Who has them?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So watching that like flip in them from like casual to competitive, it's very exciting.
But no, I mean, also just to kind of mimic what you said, I even now feel weird when I go to events and people kind of come. It's like, oh my gosh, hi, I've seen your stuff, or they see Maelstrom, and they're just like, oh my gosh, hi. I always feel weird, just because I'm just a dude, right?
Yeah. It's like I'm just
I
a person.
yeah, like I'm just a dude, and I didn't even go to Worlds, so I don't know why you're tripping out about me. Those guys over there went to Worlds, so like go fangirl over that. But like I don't know. I try to be as welcoming as possible because I know what it's like to be really excited to want to try out something and really like have that leap of like, wow, okay, this is really hard. I'm really anxious about this, but I'm gonna try. And then you go and it's just kind of you get deflated just because
Mhm.
the environment isn't what you expected. The people that you met aren't exactly as welcoming as you would wish for them to be. And I never want to be in the position where somebody can look back and say, I tried to say hi, or I was having a weird time and like I took the leap and it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I try to like every time at an event, if somebody's coming up to say hi, like I want to make sure everybody feels as welcome as possible.
Absolutely. Yep.
This
Same.
community is awesome. And lots of fans of Ohana in the chat as well. So shout out to you all. I do want to transition. We are starting to run a little, getting towards the end of the show. I do want to make sure we talk about the meta a little bit, and I'm interested in all of your thoughts. Before we do that, just want to, as the dog tries to force his way in the room, I do want to say if you're joining us for the first time this evening, whether you're the one of the 65 watching on YouTube, 36 watching on Twitch, 230 people watching on Twitter, or the one person watching on Facebook, there's always one. And I appreciate you fighting the fight out there. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to chat with us throughout the show if you have any questions. And also shout out to our Patreon supporters who are watching, Sorcerer's Hat, Chris, I see you out there, Matt Sunhalter, Courtney, all of you folks. Steven, thanks for being here and supporting the show because the subscription costs money. So appreciate you all. Yeah, get more people on Twitch. Yeah, yeah, come on over, Twitter folks. They wouldn't like me saying that, but come on over to Twitch. The water's nice. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. I don't know. All right. Let's talk about we can transition back, but I want to make sure that we visit this because it's kind of fun. Because and you being here, Tanya, kind of helps tell the story. So last weekend, CCS, and Ink was a little bit different, but let's CCS real quick. Purple Steel runs rampant. All Purple Steel final. You crush people on Sunday with Purple Steel.
Yeah.
Purple Steel's everywhere. I feel like that's the story of last weekend.
And then this weekend.
And then this weekend, like is that accurate? Like, why Purple Steel last weekend? Not that it's like the main deck. Blurple is still everywhere, all of that. But like Amber Steel wasn't really a huge factor. You had Mitch from the Uninkables running it, who finished top 8, and a few others. But really, as a meta share, it was kind of low, I feel like, at CCS. I know, Logan, you had a different experience up at Ink. But Tiago seemed to be just crushing people with Purple Steel, and Purple Steel seemed to be like a pretty safe choice going into these events. Is that kind of where we were last weekend?
I felt like it's where I was. I feel like Purple or Amethyst Steel just like has like a very favorable matchup if built. I don't want to say correctly, but like optimally, like realistically into like most decks. Hardest matchup I feel like is just like Blurple if like they just like go crazy with ramp. Um, but I also feel like the meta right now is like any decks like could have just pop off and be like built perfectly for that event, and like it can just go crazy. Because like I feel like people are like teching so much into like specific decks. Because I know that was like the big conversation for CCS is like how much Blurple are we going to see, or how much Baja Blast are we going to see, or Amber Steel. So it's like I don't know. It's I feel like that's just like so hard right now because like it's like any deck's game kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like we're at a point where we're figuring out the things that create the triangle or even the square. I think it was Pandemonium Heart was pointing out there are 4 to 6 decks that I think you can take to an event and realistically win with. And I think that's the sign of a healthy meta. And all of those color combinations have a lot of tech options within them. Amethyst Steel, for instance, has a lot of different cards you can put into it and do well. Even Blurple has a lot of different ways you can go like in the mid game with tech cards and things like that. And then we're seeing Baja Blast, Emerald Sapphire start to really shape and take control and be the bigger control deck because it does have the only board wipe in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, like, for instance, going into this weekend, we absolutely 1000% was like, all right, Amethyst Steel is the deck that we have to be able to beat. How do we beat it? Humble and I just kind of landed back on Blurple because we feel really confident in that matchup. We've played hundreds of games of it. You can still get taken down, but you just have the tools to get there. We honestly did not expect a lot of Amber Steel because no one's really been playing Amber Steel.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's okay. So here's if by the way, if you understand this joke that R&B made, you're my favorite because this video is one of my favorite of all time. It goes in the square hole. So here's what I think happened. This is like roughly. So I think for like looking at the meta last weekend, people like not a lot of people were on Emerald Sapphire going into Charlie's. Like it was around. But you know, people were talking about the big 3 decks. A lot of people, or a couple very well-known players, you know, Sailor, including and Team Maelstrom also, brought in Emerald Sapphire. Emerald Sapphire did a lot of work, very good into or decent into Blurple, and actually fairly decent into Amethyst Steel as well because it has the board wipe. And it didn't really go toe-to-toe much with the aggro list because there just weren't a lot of aggro lists there. So more people move into Emerald Sapphire. And we got a preview of that on Friday. And we talked about this earlier, Logan, where Ryan just crushes, just farms Amethyst Steel. Beats Thiago twice, like handily, farms everybody, and keeps like probably if Ryan isn't running this this list and we don't have like 1 or 2 of these other Emerald Sapphire lists running around, I think on Friday, you know, Thiago probably takes it, and it's a completely different story. But all of these Emerald Sapphire lists just control and keep Amethyst Steel down. Okay, so then we go into the main event. A lot more people are on Emerald Sapphire, and Emerald Sapphire is keeping the Amethyst Steel list down, but is getting wrecked by Amber Steel because of 1 card, and that is Pete. Amber Steel worked Pete back into the lists. They did some work. They got Pete back in there. They got Fire the Cannons to deal with some early cards that are going to sing. And whereas Amethyst Steel is not running those cards, not a lot of them, I didn't see Pete in many Amethyst Steel lists at all. And because a lot of the Amber Steel players shifted into Pete, they had a really great matchup, like a really great finisher against the Under the Sea decks, and just shut down, you know, that game plan, that control game plan into them. And so what ends up happening is the Emerald Sapphire lists are keeping Amethyst Steel down, but then at the same time just getting wrecked by Amber Steel and Amber Steel rises to the top and ends up being, I think, the big story of the tournament. That's kind of my like big kind of storyline for the weekend. What do you think of my thesis?
So going into Friday, I mean, all of us had, like, I just talk about it from the Maelstrom perspective, right? I even had somebody approach us and ask, why do you guys all run different decks? And the short answer is we all just kind of gravitate towards different play styles. Humble, me, and R&B have been working on our blurple list since the first week that Fable dropped, and that's just something we felt very comfortable on. Between work travel and just going to events back to back to back, I haven't had time to get reps on literally anything else. So we changed a couple of cards and just decided to run it back. It did well for me on Friday, was able to make top 16. I almost pivoted to Amethyst Steel for the main event. I don't know how that would have changed my outcome, but at the time I was just like, this is what I have the most reps on. This is what I'm gonna go with. Going into the event, Wonder, I've been talking with Sailor a lot about his Emerald Sapphire list and how it did. And so he felt confident in that. And then Sky, as always, coming off of Ink, making top 8 there. He was like, I'm bringing Amber Steel because I think this is the best deck in the format. So Friday rolls around. Like I said, I end up making top 16, and both Sky and Wonder go X2, just missing top cut. And so we were all discussing, what changes do we need to make? How do we need to adapt? And Sky straight up was like, I'm not changing a single card. He was like, I think this is the best deck in the format. He was like, I think when I play this, it feels like I'm playing an Infinity deck and everybody else is playing a core constructed deck. And it just showed. Saturday, he just went completely undefeated. Didn't lose anything in Swiss, drew his way into top 16, I believe was 3rd seed overall going into Top Cut. And I watched his top 16. I watched all of his matches just because, at that point I was like, all right, Maelstrom can take home the first CCQ. And he had some tough matchups. I'm not going to lie. The Emerald Sapphire list, particularly in top 8 that he played against, was really scary. There were a couple of times he had to basically put himself in the position of, if you have Under the Sea, I lose. And if you don't, cool. It turns out when they don't draw the Under the Sea, you don't have to be afraid of it.
It's fair.
But I saw every single card in his list do amazing things. Fire the Cannons was amazing against Blurple because a lot of us are on the Mim Elephant control builds, so we can just fire the cannons down our 1-drops and our T-pos so we can't get that off. Sven was amazing to not only protect some of your questers like Nala or Lady or Daisy so they can't be challenged for free. He was also using it in the mirror to untap Tiana so he could challenge down opposing characters. Rhino, the Shift Rhino, also just stupid good in the mirror. Strength of a Raging Fire, the most insane removal card that we have in the game at the moment. Aurora was the biggest thing that he changed from Ink to this weekend, and Aurora just allows for completely unfair play lines because you can play like a Mulan for free, filter out something and use the rest of your ink to do it. Cheat out a Tiana on turn 2, cheat out a Lady on turn 2 if you want to. Just having so much synergy with the deck already worked. And Troubadour was another one of the things, like just having a guaranteed Strength Singer that you can use on turn 3, so you can go 1-drop Troubadour, Lady. Now you have 4 characters, Strength, Banish, whatever, it's on the board. It worked out. And him sticking with just being stubborn like Sky tends to be sometimes absolutely paid off. None of us really disagree with him with his changes or his list in general going into it. When we went through the gauntlets, he was doing well against all of us, against all of the decks anyway. And just being a master pilot of the deck showed through Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think about kind of the Tanya, what do you think about kind of the shift in, I don't know, your explanation of the deck, Logan, is perfect and why it matches very well into the meta. It's just like fascinating to me, kind of the drastic change that we saw between CCS and PPG. I don't know. What do you think, Tanya?
So funnily enough, I only played against 2 Amber Steel aggro decks at the ladies tournament, and I didn't see like a ton. I think I saw Mitchell play at one of his games, but I didn't get to watch the whole thing. And I think by the end of the ladies tournament, I was like, the only deck, in my opinion, that should be playing Pete is Amber Steel aggro, because it is such a good like turn 3 to guarantee your board, or like a turn 4 to like, depending on obviously like what your opponent has out and if they're able to sing the Under the Sea, but like you're already questing for what, like I don't know, like probably like 8 by the time you're actually questing. So like if you get the Pete out, it's just like so good. I love this list. I want to play aggro, so I want to play this list so bad, or like Amber Steel just in general, but like I'm having way too much fun with Amber Steel to like switch over. But I saw a list very similar to this in the women's tournament, and the only difference was like she was playing the Lilo, and I feel like the Amber Steel lists that are playing the Lilo like tech too much for the Lilo, and like you're playing the John Silver that doesn't let you challenge, so it's like doing too much. But like this list is kind of spicy. I like it. If we play, so we're playing in a charity 3v3 on Saturday, and one of the decks that we're playing, because we have to represent all 6, is Amethyst Steel or Amber Steel, and I'm definitely probably just gonna build this and play it if I have to play Amber Steel.
I mean,
So
look,
it's
Awesome.
it
just
does
fun.
powerful things. It does. Very
Yeah,
powerful
it's
things.
crazy. I love it.
So after this weekend, as a side note, don't tell the Austin crew. I'm gonna try to do set champs this time. I've missed the last couple, and I'm probably gonna play this deck as well. But don't tell anybody in Austin. So be a surprise. So how do we think Amethyst Steel is positioned in the meta right now?
I mean, it won the CCQ. So
I'm sorry, Amethyst Steel.
Amethyst Steel.
Yeah.
I still think it's. I mean, it's one of the 4 pillars, right? I mean, you have Sapphire Amethyst, you have Amethyst Steel, you have Amber Steel, and then you have Sapphire Emerald. I genuinely do think that Amethyst Steel is still a threat you have to worry about and be aware of. I think just Saturday, there was a lot of cannibalizing happening, and by that I mean a lot of Amethyst Steel lists were kind of teching for each other, so they were losing points into other things. And when Amethyst Steel techs for the mirror instead of Amber Steel, you can kind of still just get run over by 1, 2, 3 strength. I don't think Amethyst Steel is going anywhere by any means. I still think it's I still think it's a top contender deck. Just because it didn't make top cut at the CCQ doesn't mean it's gone by any means. I just think it was the wrong day for it. And I think the illusion builds that a lot of people are on, running a lot of the Treasure Guardian lists that were kind of mimicking what Tiago did at CCS, just fell prey to a lot of the Amber Steel lists that were teching for the Mim Elephant Blurple lists. And so they were running Fire the Cannons, and it just kind of ruins your day when you're on an illusions list.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
don't even think I played Fire the Cannons at all during the main event of CCS either, though. So
interesting. So Fire the Cannons and Illusionist. I wonder what Tiago would think about that. Let's ask him.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, friend? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Did you just get in yesterday, Zen, or?
I got it. Yeah, just got in yesterday. So
Nice.
I got home, immediately passed out the second I touched my bed. It was wonderful.
How about you, Liam?
I landed at midnight. I got to bed at about 2 a.m. So I slept for about 4 hours. So I'm running on fumes.
Could be worse. And then I haven't met you yet, Tanya, but nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Another Amethyst Steel aficionado over there.
That's what I hear.
He might know a thing or two, maybe.
Tiago, we've been talking about, I'm sure you caught the end of our conversation. We've been talking about the meta and how, people are describing it as a square meta, kind of talking about where Amethyst Steel is positioned, observing that, sorry to rub it in, no Amethyst Steel made the top cut, and just kind of thinking about why and what it was about the meta on that particular day that kept it down. We actually, and I want to ask your opinion on this, but just funny story. We actually like to add insult to injury and like salt in the wound on the broadcast side, we made a mistake and actually told everybody, "Oh, there's one amethyst steel. Don't worry, it's still there." And
I
we
saw that.
were wrong.
Yeah.
I was so excited when I saw that one, and then they were like sending in the chat. They were like, "It's a lie," and I was like,
Yeah, he was like, I actually played Blurple, guys. I was like, no.
Yeah, it was actually my round 6 opponent. Everybody's like, Red Saber, he's on Amethyst Steel. And I was like, that's not true, actually.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, what do you think of the meta? What do you think of the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, the tournament was interesting. I think, to be honest, like I think Amethyst Steel is not on the same level as like the other top decks in the game. I think like it's completely like historically unprecedented in card games, honestly, for a deck to be a quarter of the meta for 2 tournaments in a row that are 250 to 300 players, where it makes 0 copies in the top 16. Like, if this deck was making like 2 or 3 copies in the top 16 when it's a quarter, 28% of the room, like that's already pretty bad. But to have 0 copies in back-to-back tournaments is like completely like almost like unfathomable. Like, surely like some variance cracks in a certain way where one of them gets in. Like, to me, that's completely crazy. I think the versions of Amethyst Steel people are playing right now are just like not very good. I think like the version that I played this weekend, even though in the 5K I like did fine, I like lost in top 4. I think they're like not as developed as some of these other archetypes. Like, we see people like Sky really innovating the Amber Steel archetype, and we see Blue Green has really made strides in the past weeks. And Blurple was always a more powerful deck, and it always had way more people playing it than Amethyst Steel, so it really refined itself. And so I think this kind of version of Amethyst Steel that I played this weekend is at like, we're not going to see it very much moving forward. I think the deck is going to have to take another evolution to keep up, and it's something that I have personally not been able to do. Like, I've been home for 4 of the last 18 days, so this is still very similar to what I had like on day 1 of the set. And I think there's still like another breakthrough that the deck's going to have to be relevant in the meta.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it was interesting to me. Like the 0 conversion into day 2 is fascinating. But what was also interesting is that it actually did, like you pointed out, it did fairly well on Friday. You unless you if you didn't run into the buzzsaw that is Ryan on Friday,
He
you
was
probably...
my Swiss loss, yeah. So that was brutal. And then I ended up, the person who took it down was my camera match on round 4 or 5, and I was able to win that one. But I had to run into Ryan. What am I supposed to do? I'm just getting owned by him every single time.
Yeah, there sometimes in these tournaments, there are players where you just see like it's their day. They're good players anyway, but like it just, the stars have aligned and they're just, you're like, it's your day. Like,
yeah.
Friday was Ryan's day.
Yeah, he seems like an awesome kid, so I was pretty happy for him.
No, he was, but I even said it during, like, right after our match. I was like, dude, you just, everything you needed, you just, he would be on no resources, and then he would just be like, oh, hey, deck, what do I need? Oh, that card.
Yeah,
right
yeah, I had him
one?
dead. He's like, has 1 card in hand. He's Clarabelle, draw 2 cards, just draws the hands held high under the C combo. I was like, okay, that's good. Yeah, I think his list, he has, his list is very non-standard. He has 15, like, clunky uninkables, so yeah. I think I was really surprised when I heard that he was like 18-0 in game score going into the finals, because his deck, like, he's playing a ramp deck, so his deck can miss ramp 10% of the time, and he's also playing like almost twice as many expensive uninkables as this deck typically plays. So the like times where you brick is like probably relatively high, and so the fact that his game score was perfect was like, just a testament to how on fire he was that weekend. So, I mean, yeah.
Just as a testament in our game, like game 1, I finally stabilized. I was gonna win in like the next turn, and I needed him to not, like, the only card in his deck that would get me was his 3rd copy of Hades, and then he your welcomes his Bobby, I think it was, and the 2 cards he draws are Hades and Tipo, and I'm like, I mean, sure, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
when you get it, you get it. And but it was like both games, it was like that. I mean, and I was just like, I can't beat somebody who's also on the same level of playing, but drawing everything you need when you need it. It was like, man, come on. I wish I could get some of that luck.
I think in 2 series, like we probably played for under 25 minutes total. Like he just completely smashed me both times. I was like, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, like he was just everything he needed. He was just getting it. Like it was for sure just his day.
Yeah. I'm getting notes from Aaron. In so I'm in trouble. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a segue teed up. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. I just revisiting, like the last thing I'll close on Friday is it was really interesting. Like normally when you have 2-day tournaments, you do kind of see like a correlation between, the 2 days. And I think the meta share was probably consistent between the 2 tournaments in terms of, what people brought, but the results were just so different. I don't know. It's just kind of fascinating to me. Is Amber Steel? I know we say rock paper scissors, all that. The way Sky has it built, the way it's tech now, we've worked in. We've got the Pete's running around. Is it the best deck in the meta? Can we say that? Should we say that?
I
In my,
don't think you can definitively say anything is the best deck in the meta.
yeah, I think the of the 4 decks, the 4 like top decks, I think in my opinion, at least Amethyst Steel is like a level below where the other ones are now. I think when the DLCs roll around, like the deck will have a slightly different identity, which will line up better. But I think of the 3 right now, they all have like their merit. In my opinion, I think Sky's deck's the best. I think it has the best matchups into the other 3 top decks. I think it has a lot of room for you to like express like your skill and be well positioned to play into any matchups, whereas the other decks like have more failure modes with like missing ramp and drawing a bunch of uninkables or whatever. So I think if I were to play something that's not Amethyst Steel, I would probably pick up Sky's deck, but I think that blue green is like so strong now. Blue green has draws that literally no deck in the game can beat. So I mean, I think if you play any of the, I think probably don't play Amethyst Steel, but you can play any of the top decks in there. I personally think Sky's deck's the best, but I don't think anybody can make a definitive statement.
There's something like we were talking about with Tiago before the main event on Saturday too. Like Tiago for 3 weekends in a row was just bringing Amethyst Steel and just smacking people around. He finally got in the main event on Saturday, but all day Friday while he was winning, like getting up to top 8, he was like, I don't know why anybody would play Amethyst Steel. It's so fair compared to everything else. This deck is terrible. Like why? Meanwhile, he's just, cruising on his way undefeated up into top 8.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like I don't know. I think in the first weekend it was really good, but in CCS it was like I was desperately trying to get off it. I just didn't have time to like prepare something else, and then I think I got like relatively lucky in a lot of different spots in CCS. Like I was pretty surprised myself that I was able to take it down, and then this last weekend it was more like what I imagined it'd be. Like you can win some games, and then a lot of times you feel like you're just like playing a completely different game than other people. But I mean, I think that the colors have tools. I think you just like need to, the deck just needs to look different than it does now. What do you think, Tanya? You play a lot of purple steel. Do you think it's well positioned now? Do you think it's like on the same level?
My opinion is gonna probably rattle some cages, but I don't know. Like I just feel like personally, I tested the Dumbo list and then I tested the not Dumbo list, and I think the not Dumbo list might have better legs potentially. But I also feel like the issue is that like we're kind of, one of you guys said it, I think it was Thiago, said that like everybody's kind of like teching for specific lists for specific weekends. So like no one list is like great, but Amber Steel absolutely has like some of the best matchups in every deck, I think. Whereas like the other 3 don't necessarily have like you have to like tech into a specific deck, I think, to like make it through, and then hope that you see those decks to like win, which sucks.
That makes sense. In your non-Nubbo deck, are you playing Yzma and Fire the Cannons?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
Right. Fine, keep your secrets.
No, I play I just play Doc, Genie, 2 Treasure Guardian now, Namari, and then they never came back or never come back too.
Interesting. Cool.
It was a little spicy.
It got her the win, so I mean, like,
Yeah.
Every Dumbo-less person out there is saying, please let that list be.
Yeah.
I know.
everyone.
look, everybody was like, we need Dumbos, and then you have No I'm Not the first week being like, I don't need Dumbos, and he's running 3 second stars with Ryder, and he's like, you play a Dumbo, my Ryder eats it for free.
Yeah, it was crazy. I loved
Yeah.
that though.
Yeah, just Raz says, just play green steel. There you go. That's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. Just do it.
Yeah, just play that. Yeah, I don't know. I really, it's so funny. Like every time, I feel like it happens every set. There's doomsayers who are like, this meta's terrible. Like I hate this meta.
Mm-hmm.
I anytime I'm in a meta and I'm like, I see it shift week to week, and like this week this happens, and never respond and shifts to this, and we have like 4 decks that are viable or more. Actually, like I don't know. I feel like we're in a good place. I'm really enjoying this meta.
We're slowly starting to figure more things out.
Yeah.
I think what the meta looks like now compared to what we're going to see in Bologna and Milwaukee is going to be very, very different. I think the card choices are just going to. I think there are a lot of cards that we haven't quite explored because for the first few weeks it's kind of been comfortable and easy and like, okay, this is obviously powerful, but now people are starting to branch out and be like, well, what's high rolly powerful, or what can get there that can, with a little bit of help or something from an angle we haven't looked at, be powerful. I wouldn't be surprised to see an in combination that we haven't really fully explored just start taking things down by. I don't know what that's going to be off the top of my head yet, but like, I don't think everything's figured out yet by any means.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, like for instance, like we saw Diego play this like green yellow Chromacon dogs deck last week. I think a lot of these like aggressive green decks are somewhat well positioned because you have access to cards like Improvise, which are really good against purple steel. You have cards like Ursula Deceiver, which is really good against some of the steel decks, and it hits like Into the Unknown and Second Star against Blurple, and it shuts down the blue-green Under the Sea combo, right? And you also have like Chromacon, which is well positioned against Blurple. So like there's a lot of different colors that are just like completely unexplored now that have like a lot of things that line up well into the metagame. And I think like it's so underexplored just because I think people like playing the purple decks, and like when Genie and Elsa are the best cards in the game, like it's like so easy for people to gravitate towards, and like people just aren't like exploring everything because the most obvious powerful thing is just something that they like enjoy doing and you feel fine into like all the decks. So I think there's a million different directions people can still go, and people will go leading up to the DLCs.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I'm really excited to watch the Bologna meta and how that shapes up. Both because it's going to be all the best players playing, all the best decks. We're gonna have folks from over here heading over there. I've even seen people in the chat tonight who are heading over. I know some other people in the chat who got some last minute tickets who are debating going. But even then, I also love seeing, because frankly, the European meta and the DLCs tends to be just like a little different than what's over here, and we see them favor like these tempo variant Amethyst Emerald decks sometimes, for example, while all of us over here on green steel. So it'll be really fun to see what they come up with. And I'm really excited to see if the meta share is different and if there's any decks percolating over there that I don't know, that really stand out that we haven't seen yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I've also seen some of them are playing like these tempo purple decks with like less than 4 genies. I was like, these decks look crazy. So I'm really curious to see what the top decks end up being.
The
Less
cardinal
than 4
sin
genies is diabolical.
the cardinal sin of 3 genies.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, I am on 4 hours sleep, and I could talk to you like I love talking. I could talk to you all night, but they say leave them wanting more. So we're gonna get close to wrapping here. Real quick, before I give the final shout outs and do the final show notes. Anything we missed? Any closing thoughts from anybody on the meta, on where we were at, upcoming events? I don't know. What did we miss? What are your big big thoughts right now on the state of Lorcana.
Don't rely on Dumbo.
I
I said it.
Clip
I'll
that.
say it again.
Clip it. I don't know how to clip things, so I just say it, and sometimes people do it, which is super awesome. Shout out to the one person who clips every week on Twitch.
No, I absolutely agree with that. We're like I said, we're slowly getting to the point where people are starting to explore and figure things out. Dumbo is not the end all be all of the meta. I think it is an obviously powerful card, but there are things that are just I don't know about consistently better, but I think Tiago brought it up earlier. There are some Emerald Sapphire high rolls that I don't think any deck in the meta beats when they get the right sequence of cards.
Yep.
It almost feels like the Emerald Steel levels of, oh, cool, you have like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 curve, then let's go next game. That's cool. I think we're going to see more things like that come out in the next few weeks as people start to play around more. While we do have big things happening every weekend, we don't have another huge event, I think, until Bologna. So that's a lot of wiggle room for people who don't have like a lot of high stakes to just play around and see what's working.
Yeah, I'll say for myself, like, I'm most likely not going to Bologna, so I'm not playing anything for like 6 weeks until Milwaukee. And I think a lot of people are either not doing anything for the next 3 weeks until Bologna or it's next 6 until Milwaukee. So I think there's going to be a lot of work that happens behind the scenes from people and a lot of breakthroughs that are going to happen on the decks. I think blue-green is extremely powerful, and there's a reason why a lot of the top players are gravitating towards it and why it's having really good conversions. And Blurple is a complete menace, right? It's making up half or more than half of these top cuts. So I'd be interested to see how that looks going into the DLC season. It seems like it has a really big target on its back, but has the tools to fight. And yeah, I think the lists that we're seeing of these decks are not going to be super close to what they look like in the DLCs, except for maybe Amber Steel. So I think a lot of improvements are going to be made from now before we see these decks at the top level again.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what happens at Bologna. I'm also excited to see one more shout out for the Diet Coke Invitational next weekend. I'll be there commentating. If you're in the Dallas area, come out, bring a 12-pack of Diet Coke, and you too can play in the Diet Coke Invitational with 100 other awesome folks. So keep an eye on Twitch next weekend for that. Tiago, you have fans in the chat all over the place. Look at that. Twitch, Twitter folks don't chat very often. I don't know if it's the interface or whatever. So when a Twitter chat comes in, it's usually high impact. You know, they worked hard for it.
Yeah, that's Mai. She's also one of the top female players. So shout out.
I've met Mai. Yeah, that's awesome. Good shout out. Hey Mai. And Mai had super awesome jerseys, and I saw them given out once, and I was super jealous. Because Gabe and Skinner got them, and it was awesome. So I'll be at Diet Coke Invitational next weekend. I am going to go around the horn one more time and make sure all of our viewers know where to follow all of you. Before I do that, thanks to everybody for tuning in. All of you, nobody on Facebook anymore, but 61 of you on YouTube, 38 people on Twitch. And I say that just so I can say it, the 283 people on Twitter. If you're following one of those platforms, like jump on over to YouTube and hit subscribe if you haven't already, because it helps and it's awesome. And you get notifications when we go live. And you get to talk to awesome guests or see awesome guests every Monday. Next week, next week's gonna be a fun show. And then after that, we'll be talking about Bologna. So join us back here next Monday night. And once again, shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. So with that, Tanya, first, I do want to make sure people know where they can follow you and what you're up to. So how can people keep up with your Lorcana exploits?
On X, I am Pac Panda. You can probably not find me on Facebook because all my stuff's super hidden, but I'm generally always on Twitter. And then Timo Hana on everything, YouTube, X, Facebook. We're pretty much everywhere. So.
That's awesome. I'll make sure to get that in the show notes this week. And Tiago, where can people follow you?
Right now, mostly just on X at Tiago XS23, and the Metafy is coming soon. So keep your eyes peeled if you like purple steel.
He said, "I'm finally making a guide for everyone who has questions."
Yeah, it's on the way. Hopefully before Bologna. That's the goal.
Okay. Let me know if you have no content plan with SSG. Let me if you want to do a video. Maybe we can do that. It'd be fun.
Sounds good to me.
And definitely,
maybe.
definitely check when you get the Metafy up. Definitely ping us so that we can share it. Because I know you've been all the rage this season, and I know people are eager to get a hold of whatever content you put out. So make sure you let us.
I'll
let us know.
I'll let you know for sure.
Fantastic. And we'll get that in the show notes as well. Logan, did we miss anything?
No, I think we hit all the points, man.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in.